Hey, what's going on? We got another question about pitching today. Great question, actually. And it's from Andy F. And he says, Coach, how would you teach a young pitcher to effectively change height on their pitches? We want to guide our 10, 11U pitchers with good command on how to throw one low or high to induce a batter to chase when they get ahead 0-2. Same question for how to purposely pitch inside/outside. We have a few pitchers consistent enough to progress this, my boy included. Hope you spent some good time with loved ones in New Jersey and got some good pizza. Thank you so much for the instruction you provide. Andy F., thank you so much for that great question. That really is a great question. And first of all, I guess I want to talk about the 0-2 count here. And you're absolutely right. For the 0-2 count, you want to expand the zone. That's what we're trying to do as pitchers, right? Because as a hitter, what's the hitter trying to do here? They are trying to protect, right? Swing at anything close, you hear the coaches say all the time in an 0-2 count, right? So as a pitcher, we want to expand the strike zone. So we're not going to throw a pitch right in that strike zone. We want to throw a pitch that looks like a strike and then goes out of the zone. So they see it as a strike and they got to chase it. And then we induce weak contact or a swing and miss, right? That's a great way to approach the 0-2 count. And you says in your question, you says, look, I've been in New Jersey for too long for you said you want to throw, how do we guide our 10U, 11U pitchers with good command on how to throw one low or one high to induce a batter to chase when they get to 0-2? That's a great question. So now comes the question of pitch command, right? How do we control the pitches to get there or make them believe that they can get these batters out that way? So there's a lot involved in this. You're absolutely right. One low or one high, expanding the zone. That's what we just talked about. What I like to talk about or think about when we're talking about pitching, and you mentioned pitching inside and outside as well, is the first thing that these young players have to have is the belief, the conviction, right? The belief in their mind and their heart that they can throw the pitch where they want to throw the pitch. If they don't have that belief within them, it's going to be hard for them to execute the pitch, right? You have to have that feeling within you that you know you can execute the pitch, because if you don't, then you're going to struggle to throw that pitch, right? And a lot of times when we do that, we leave pitches over the middle because we're worried about, maybe if we're pitching inside, we're worried about hitting them. So we try not to, we tighten up and we throw it over the plate, whatever it is. You have to have that full conviction. And for me, it wasn't until my senior year of college, believe it or not, when I figured this out. And it wasn't something that was easy to figure out. It was just something that happened. And for me, it was that it could be my last year of playing baseball ever. And I said, you know what? I don't ever want to feel that way, where if I throw the pitch inside, I get tightened up and I can't execute on that pitch, right? So I said, well, no matter what, whenever I throw this pitch, I'm going to go with full conviction, full belief in my mind and my heart that I'm going to execute this pitch, right? And if it hits the batter, it hits the batter. So what? I can't control that, right? But I wanted to throw with full conviction. Now, how can we do that with 10 and 11-year-old players? It comes through practice, right? Them having success in doing that, right? So if we can work on when they're pitching inside, hitting a spot, pitching outside, hitting a spot, pitching up in the 0-2 count, pitching down. So instead of just having them throw 10 pitches or 12 pitches, 15 pitches in their bullpen session, let's mix it up, right? Let's have them try to hit spots with different pitches if they're throwing different pitches. This way they get used to it, and then they have the success, right? Another thing that you would want to practice with them is having a batter in there. Even if they're not hitting, just having that visual. For me, that was huge, because once a batter stepped in there, the whole game changed, right? Not only is there more pressure because it's a game and everything means more, but also just the visual of a batter in there, right? It's different. It's weird. So for me, practicing my bullpen or throwing bullpens with a batter in there, even if he was just standing there and not swinging, was huge, because it helped me kind of be able to see and set my sights on pitches, especially in that 0-2 count or when I'm trying to go in, right? Now I have a person, an object there if I'm trying to bust them in, right? If I'm just throwing a bullpen and there's nobody there and the catcher sits up over here, it's a lot easier to hit that spot if you're not worried about hitting anyone, right? If it's a ghost batter in there, right? But if you have a real person in there, you have to learn how to overcome that feeling and have that conviction. And over time, after having success in doing it and hitting the spot inside, you're going to go, hey, I can do this. And then it's going to be easier to have that conviction, that belief to throw that pitch and hit that spot. So that conviction comes with repetitive success, right? So we got to give them the opportunities to practice that and have that success. And also in the games are practice, right? The games are experience. So don't be afraid to, as they're developing, let them try to do that within the game. And if they miss and they give up a bomb or whatever, that's a learning experience, right? It took me until my senior year of college to figure this whole thing out. So, it may take some time. These guys are 10 and 11-year-old players, but I like where your mind is at, Coach, because starting them to move around the zone and pitch around the zone. I don't believe it's ever too early. Obviously, if you got a kid that can't throw a strike at all, you're not going to work on hitting spots with them. But your guys who are capable of doing this. And you even said in your thing, we have a few pitchers consistent enough to progress this. So obviously, you know what I'm talking about as far as that goes. You got a few guys that can be challenged by this, right? You always want to find those guys and all the guys on your team, but challenge them a little bit more than what they're doing, right? Because you always want them to try to close that gap of where you're trying to challenge them, especially at this age. And some of the guys might be at a slower pace than those top few guys that you have, and you want to challenge those guys. Maybe not as much as the guys leading the pack, but you want to challenge those guys so they're closing the gap as well. You always want to challenge these young athletes so they can grow, and that's what it's all about at this age. It's cool to win the tournaments and all that stuff, but it's really about developing these guys to be great players as they grow up and learn the game and be confident in the game. We should be instilling the confidence in these young players, because the confidence is going to give them that conviction, whatever they're doing, to hit the spot, to throw nasty 0-2 pitches, to hit better, to just be a confident better player, confident young man off the field as well too, man. Confidence is huge in everything that we do. So the more confidence we can build in these young guys, the better. But I like where your head's at, Coach. I appreciate your question. I hope I answered it. One thing I do want to talk about, just to go in depth more about the O2, and I think you might find this beneficial, might be a little bit over their head, but something for you to think about and use in your strategy if you're helping these young guys, is to think about pitching as disrupting the batter's timing and balance, right? Timing, we throw fast pitches and we throw slow pitches. Balance, we throw in, we throw out, we throw up, we throw down. That's what we're talking about here. When it comes to the balance or the eye level, up and down, right? One thing I like to think about like a train, like miles and miles away in a mountain, right? And it's going the same speed, top speed for a train. I don't know what that is. It's going top speed for a train. Now take that same train miles and miles away in the mountains, but bring them right here in front of you on the same track, going the same speed. The one right in front of you looks like it's going a lot faster, right? The one up in the mountains looks like it's creeping along. The distance from the batter's eyes is going to play a difference in what that speed looks like. So not only can we mess up their timing with actual velocity, but we can mess up their timing with perceived velocity as well. So we can throw a pitch not only up, but up and in, close to the eyes, and then down and away to change that perceived velocity, right? Now we can actually use change the actual velocity as well. So we can go up and in fastball, low and away changeup, right? Now we've got the perceived velocity and the actual velocity difference, and it just becomes a nastier pitch. So, for example, when I was in junior college, my junior college coach was huge on going up and in 0-2. Like, he was huge on up and in 0-2. So for me, that was junior college. I didn't figure it out until my senior year, but that gave me a lot of experience throwing pitches. We had to throw the pitches right at the batter's hands, right? That's where he wanted us to throw it, right here. And I hit a ton of guys in the elbow, back elbow, front elbow, in the hands, everything. But I had a lot of experience. So when I did get to that point, that senior year where I said, I don't want to feel like this anymore, that led me to that point. You know what I'm saying? So that's a great way to attack these guys 0-2. Maybe coming up and in, and then expanding the zone, low and away. So you hear a lot too on the 0-2 count. You want to waste the pitch. I don't think you ever want to waste the pitch. You don't want to throw a pitch that they're definitely not swinging at, but you could set them up with a pitch in an 0-2 count, and they'll go get them on that 1-2, right? That up and in pitch is a great pitch. It gets them off balance. It gets them uncomfortable in there, and then you throw that pitch. You're still ahead in the count 1-2. You expand the zone a little bit. Now your 1-2 pitch doesn't even have to be as good as your 0-2 pitch, or as your 0-2 whatever you're trying to throw there to expand the zone if you weren't going up and in. I hope that makes sense. It's just a setup pitch. It's a good way to attack guys. Again, might be a little bit over their head, but something for you to think about over the years here, and just helping these young boys develop. Again, I appreciate the question. I hope that answered it. If you guys have any questions, leave a comment down below. I'd love to answer it on video for you guys. Thank you so much, and talk to you in the next video.